The Nexus 7 are going to be here for a long, long time. My team isn't exactly the Super Friends. I'm not exactly Superman.
Talking like a tough guy, fella.
I have watched TNA since the beginning. When they were at the asylum, celebrating 12 years on the air, and voted 2009 Broadcast Show of the Year. This is the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report, broadcasting live on Wednesday, a special night, special time, July 28, 2010, from the beautiful Time Warner Cable Studios of 540 ESPN here in downtown Milwaukee. Damian Nelson, David Octavius the Tiberius Hero, and the Cos, Frank Cosentino, here live on a special Wednesday night. The sun is still out. Well, something's going on. I'm just saying.
Solar flares.
Not yet.
Solar plexus?
A lot to get to tonight, including hot news.
Oh, we got some big hot news.
We're going to talk about WWE Raw, NXT, SmackDown, and TNA Impact. But most importantly, we're going to be taking your phone calls all evening long. The phone zone's wide open all night. Tillman's going to patch you through. Just wanted to say patch you through. Oh, well now. 276-3776 is the number. 276-3776, and all over the world at 1-800-990-3776, 1-800-990-3776. We're also live right now on Blog Talk Radio and also at pwrshow.com. pwrshow.com, where the chatmosphere is also going, where the conversation continues all night long, including during the breaks.
Hey.
And
my John Cena cup is empty.
You can follow us on Twitter. Our Twitter name is PWR Show.
What do you think his favorite drink is? The Slurpee. That's what it says right here. Slurpee John Cena.
You're referencing that worldwide known purchase you made.
You know what? I can't do anything in private.
You
got that little gimmicky camera around. Ashram was not pleased that you were videotaping him.
Wow. I don't think that's what his name tag said.
Well, I couldn't pronounce it, so I'm going to go with Ashram.
You can get that video at pwrshow.com, on our YouTube channel, actually, at PWR on YouTube. Kaz, welcome back. You were gone last week.
I was in Chi-Town.
Chi-Town. Were you down at the Transformers 3 shoot? They were down in Chicago.
No, but I didn't see that. I
Lower
Michigan Avenue in the Chicago River, and it's pretty interesting if you've ever seen a movie being made.
Well, let's get right to it and talk about WWE Raw from this past Monday night. And I guess the nexus of the episode had to be the dissension amongst the Team Cena or WWE All-Stars or Team WWE. I'm not sure what we were supposed to walk away from. Specifically that between Chris Jericho and John Cena. So, you got this team, which includes John Cena, Chris Jericho, Edge, John Morrison, R-Truth, the Great Khali,
the Punjabi Playboy,
and Bret Hart. Now, Bret Hart got married this weekend. Congratulations go out to Bret.
Yeah, half his age. That's a really big congratulations.
What does that matter, David? Why do you have to make a point of that? Age ain't nothing but a number. Don't you remember that song?
Because in my head, I'm giving him high fives right now.
Those 7 people on the team, Chris Jericho, obviously a little taken aback by the fact that John Cena referred to it as his team, John Cena and Chris Jericho, then speaking about that in the ring, and Chris Jericho solidifying his place as the bad guy in this situation. We also saw Edge talking a little bit of smack about the Great Khali, and R-Truth telling us all that Jomo was faux show.
I just can't buy it. I can't buy it.
The WWE All-Stars going up
Those are not the All-Stars.
I'm sorry, Team WWE going up against Nexus at SummerSlam. Nexus is in the main event at SummerSlam. Correct me if I'm wrong, right?
Yeah.
They're headlining and main eventing.
7 guys are now beating up everybody in the company.
Well, there's strength in numbers. Haven't you ever heard that?
But they're beating up, they had the elimination match, and they beat those guys up.
Yeah, but
Okay.
that was like the B team there.
No,
Oh, no.
You had the tag team champions of the
and
world.
You had they came out to Mark Henry's music. Mark
Okay.
Henry leading them.
Hold
and you
on.
Had the tag team
Hold on. You have
champions of
Jerry
the world,
the King Lawler,
Yeah.
who is one of the
That'll
biggest
scare people.
is one of the biggest draws in wrestling. He's made a lot of money in Memphis. Has been.
Okay, you said
Okay, has been. He's been a former world champion.
Yes.
He's a top name.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
You had the world tag team champions.
Tag team.
Tyson Kidd, who is the new excellence of execution.
Okay.
H. Smith.
You had the world's strongest man.
Mark Henry.
You have perhaps the top rising star in the company, Evan Bourne.
I'm waiting for the Gold Dust thing here.
And Goldust, I mean, think about it. Goldust, he was a star.
But the problem with that team, David Hero, was the team was the team of 7, and embedded within that team were the unified tag team champions.
It was terrible. I didn't like that at all.
They completely crapped all over the tag team champions, in my opinion.
Well, see, that doesn't bother me
Just
because
the Usos were busy.
Well, that's true. We haven't seen them.
They've only wrestled 3 TV shows in a row. I think they were on Raw, Smack, the pay-per-view Raw, and then Superstars last week.
I liked it. And I'll tell you why. Because you have to have this make sense. You have to bring them up as high as possible, that they can beat superstars like you just mentioned, but minus a couple.
In all reality, Frank, if you back up, beat, and look at the situation, who did they beat?
They beat
the World Tag Team Champions.
Yeah, but okay. The World
and
Tag
they
Team
got jobbed big time.
AOBBED out. Yes.
But you know what? So did the Usos. They killed off tag team wrestling on Monday night again. Randy Orton beat up both of the Usos.
Well, and the Miz.
Well, Sheamus beat up one of the Usos with that big boot to the chest.
I get why they did it, but couldn't they have found? I get.
Really, who else could they have put there that weren't the 7 wrestlers that they're going to face at SummerSlam?
Give me 2 minutes, I can come up with a bunch of names. They had people they could have. Now, granted, it was
But
a double taping, by the way. So
they're trying to show them as this unstoppable group.
But they
they did is they showcased each guy individually with their finishers. So now these guys have now done something. Because none of us knew what their moves were going to be until
aside from Justin Gabriel, I think.
Right, and Ryan Reeves, Skip Shepard, Sheffield, whatever his name is. You know, it was. You know what? It didn't do anybody any good.
But it's
nobody,
different.
Not Nexus, not anybody.
But
it helped Nexus, but look who they hurt along the way.
Yeah.
Sometimes different isn't good. In this case, for me, it was because it's something I've never really seen before.
But David Hero, wouldn't you agree that they did have to continue showing Nexus to be strong going into SummerSlam against the All-Stars?
I agree. 100%. They had to.
How else should they have done it?
They could have done some singles matches.
I think that was last week.
They had one singles match.
Mm-hmm.
Wade Barrett.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I mean, I'm happy that these kids are getting a push. I'm sure they're going to go on and win at SummerSlam because I would hate to see them get invested this much into the Raw brand to lose the big match.
I can't.
I can see John Cena turning on his team.
You're still riding that horse, huh?
Yeah.
I don't think they can risk it right now.
Why can't they?
Because he brings in a lot of money for that organization.
And you know what?
But think about this.
He will sell just as much because now he's going to be that bad guy that your age group is going to want to cheer for.
Whoa, wait a minute. What do you mean, his age group?
You know, the 27 to 32.
Yeah. Plus tax, my friend.
If Cena were to turn heel, I think the intrigue brought by that would be substantial enough to carry WWE potentially through WrestleMania.
No, I can't see it. Whoa, hot mic. I can't see it. I look at Cena as this marketing machine reaching all demographics.
But you would have said the same thing about Stone Cold Steve Austin before 2001, wouldn't you?
But it was a little bit different.
How was it?
Because Austin came in as pretty much a big heel at the time.
Until steps away from this building,
but
he said, Austin 316 means I
Right,
just
and
put
then
your...
he did something that was new, which is basically beat up your boss and stuff like that. That was different. That was new. John Cena is, I'm only comparing it because of what he does market-wise, is like Hulk Hogan and what he did in the 80s. Which
Hulk Hogan, you can go ahead.
And look how many more T-shirts Hogan sold as Hollywood and NWO.
But that was 20 years later.
And almost 20 years ago.
And in a different organization. Right now, John Cena's with WWE,
but
and to make that
point,
turn,
the Hogan character was beyond stale at that point.
Oh, absolutely. But the stuff with John Cena the last 4 to 5 years, maybe 4 years, has reached all demographics. Where little kids want to be like him, the women start cheering, but there is that small little group that doesn't like him and never will.
Okay, name one guy on the Raw roster that can be the leader of Nexus.
Possibly.
Don't say Jericho.
No. Well, right now, who's active, I'd have to think about it. I mean, just off the top of my head.
You don't think Cena makes the most sense?
Right now in the Chatmosphere at PWRshow.com,
I don't think so.
User by the name of Michael Toole says,
Michael Toole?
You're surprised they crap on tag team champions. It's a form of a question. You know what? I am surprised because I think they've got a good thing here. Now, the point we've made several times is, aside from the Usos, I'm not sure who there is for them to wrestle. Santino and Kozlov maybe. But
those guys on Superstars.
But if you're going to have a team that includes champions, shouldn't the champions be the leaders of that team? Another comment in the Chatmosphere at PWRshow.com.
You know why Mark Henry was the leader of the team? Because he's the most recognizable of all those guys right now. He's the veteran besides Lawler.
But, David, if they wanted to, give it a couple weeks, and they can make any star as recognizable as a Mark Henry.
Okay.
Well, here's what they could have done.
But they're not. That's the thing.
Notice they took
And I'm not going back on the, sorry, Frank, not going back on the they're not building new stars wagon, because that the wheels came off that a long time ago. But they could have a lot more than they do right now.
Correct. And if they really wanted to make it different, all the guys they faced were faces. They could have added a couple of heels. Right? If they really wanted to make it different. Because right now they're going to face half and half at SummerSlam. Maybe they could have added, I don't know, name a heel right now that could have
The Miz.
Okay. Possibly.
Cody Rhodes. We just got a comment by
Cody Rhodes is on SmackDown.
Oh, now you know that. Now you've been all right.
Oh,
You've been taking the grooming.
I watched it. And I was like, wow, that's how they're going to get the kid over. Grooming tips. It's brilliant. I can't believe it took his dad that long to think of that.
Saul Perez Jr. on Twitter says that 7-on-7 tag match made the Raw guys look like wusses. Why are they pushing the Nexus guys? Except for Barrett and Gabriel, they suck.
Because they're trying to find more people to push. They're trying to find another wrestler out there that could be their future star. So you pick 1 or 2 of 7, and hopefully one of them sticks to the wall. Because Cena's been injured in the past.
You're Italian, aren't you?
How'd you guess?
Well, that's how you cook pasta, isn't it?
That's right.
You throw one at the wall?
You
do that in the summer and winter, or just in the summer?
Well, in the winter it's a little different, but we'll talk pasta tips later on. But you have top stars.
I want to talk pasta tips right now.
Do you? Okay. Rotelli is the favorite of mine.
You know what?
Undertaker gets hurt, right?
He's in a vegetative state.
But we know what happens. So they have to make sure that they have other stars that are at least being pushed. In order to do that, you take 7, and then you hope that 1 or 2 of them make it. Maybe a third.
I made it. Let's go to the phone lines, and you can be a part of the phone lines. The number 276-3776 here in southeastern Wisconsin on 540 ESPN. Our home base, 276-3776, or all over the world at 1-800-990-3776. Again, that's 1-800-990-3776. You can also text David Hero at 262. Glenn in Orlando.
Go ahead.
Glenn in Orlando, you're live.
Payback would be 10 times
You're always
worse.
on the phone. We're live on the world's number one professional wrestling radio show.
I'm getting hot news for you.
Glenn in Orlando, you're live here on the Pro Wrestling Report.
Hey guys, how you doing tonight?
Hey,
Tremendous.
Well, I went to my first TNA Live event yesterday, and surprisingly, I'm a bigger TNA fan than WWE. I was disappointed because I didn't get into the arena until the third segment, which makes me question, does TNA have what it takes to be, not only production-wise, but fan-wise, WWE level? I know they don't have that much room to go with, but to have fans not even be in the show while the show started, come on.
Yeah. Thank you, Glenn, for that call from down in Orlando.
That's
Glenn
the
tried
problem.
to go to TNA Impact this past Monday or Tuesday for the tapings and was not able to get in until several of the matches had started. The question, is TNA at the level of WWE? That's a whole larger discussion because you got to break it down. You're talking talent-wise, you're talking overall presentation-wise.
It begins and ends with overall presentation.
Which is, the answer is clearly no.
Yes.
This is the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN, streaming live at ESPNMilwaukee.com.
ESPN.
Welcome back to the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. Damian Nelson here live with the Cause, Frank Costantino, David Octavius, Tiberius Hero. Rossi Brown not able to join us tonight. He'll be back next week when we're on Wednesday again. Next Wednesday, August 4th, another special night, special time.
Where is
next
Rossi?
Wednesday. He was unable to attend.
Did you suspend him for a week?
No.
He passed his wellness test.
I don't know if you saw him on
doing
ROH
well.
on HD Net this past Monday.
He did have a rough Monday night.
He did. He get into things with that Necro Butcher, and your day's done. Just saying.
Well, that's why he gets paid the big bills at Ring of Honor.
There you go.
David Hero.
Yes.
This past Friday night, we went to a TNA live event. Had
We
some
did.
fun, talked to some people, learned some stuff. The question, and I think this was a statement that you made at some point during that event, is
Oh, boy.
no, this is good. I'm not burying you. The talent roster compared between WWE and TNA, who's got the better roster?
Oh, yeah. TNA has a better. They have better talent. They're just being misused. They're not being used properly. We're at the TNA house show. Opening match was Rob Terry versus AJ Styles.
Solid.
How does AJ Styles open the show?
Because they have
here's the
bigger
only-
talent later?
Here's the only challenge. There was one match that correlated with what was happening on TNA Impact,
Yes.
and that was Jeff Jarrett versus Kevin Nash.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, everything else was hodgepodge thrown together. There was
Anderson
no
against-
continuity.
Against Wolfie D, Desmond Wolf.
Now, when you go to WWE live events, you get some of that as well. Let's be fair. But in general, you're seeing the same stuff and people that you see on TV.
What was the estimated crowd, you think?
We'd rather not talk about that.
It wasn't a Blizzard Brawl crowd.
But it certainly was not.
Beautiful
But
building, though.
you know what though? They drew well considering the crappy weather that we've had. And they made a lot of money on gimmicks.
That's one thing. A lot of people talk about, all the problems that TNA has, and I don't think you could ever fully appreciate, and we've been to several of their live events, several of WWE live events, and we've talked about the TNA live event experience where they put the fans in touch with the wrestlers. Well, that's not free. And while they may not be doing blockbuster ticket sales, all the extra money,
They're triple dipping every
incremental
show.
money, is from merchandise. You bought a grab bag from Down West.
I
David.
bought 2 of them.
Yeah. And then
$20, you get 4 DVDs and a T-shirt. You can't beat that.
They're also selling opportunities to meet wrestlers backstage during the show. Come in early, meet wrestlers, get in the ring before the show. It's not just a Polaroid; it's an opportunity. That's where the money's coming from. So when you add all that up, I'm not saying they're making gangbusters, but
No, they're getting $20. Well, first they get the ticket price. Then they get another $20, I think, for a pre-show deal, and then another $50 you get a bigger meet and greet. So they're doing really, 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 really well for themselves. Triple dipping,
So
baby.
it's being profitable at these house shows.
That's
what
where
you-
they're picking up for the small ticket sales.
yeah.
Because essentially what's happening is these people are buying really 2 or 3 full price tickets when it's all said and done.
But the original question was the talent and being used and overused. or not used properly.
Who has the better talent roster?
And who has the better talent roster? And I agree that TNA has, from top to bottom, the better talent. Obviously, the better production to make WWE's talent look good is on the WWE side. And whether TNA, and this is a whole other discussion, whether TNA wants to be them or not, that's a whole other thing. But I'll end it like this. Until they figure out that pay-per-views have to be outside of Orlando.
You're on that wagon? Really?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You're right. They can do them all here in Milwaukee. At the Rave or at the GLCW Dome or...
That's my building.
I'm sure
I'm
you'd
not
share.
going to share.
I'm sure you'd share.
Why would I do that?
Why wouldn't you?
Because
It's all about better business, isn't it?
it's about business for me.
Chill Mascaris on Twitter username Chill Mascaris says, TNA, better roster all the way. Back to the topic at hand as we're talking about WWE Raw. Saul Perez Jr. again says, Gail Kim Groupie, as the username says, if WWE wants to push young talent, they should push the Harts, Yoshitatsu, Usos, Primo, and Evan instead of untested guys like NXT.
Well, part of the problem there also, and I may be contradicting myself, when you throw 7 people and you hope a few of them work, you could throw too many at once. And then it's like, wow.
Wait. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you're throwing too many people that aren't, or wrestlers that haven't made it yet. And then the product is like, well, wait a minute, who am I supposed to like here? There's too much young talent.
Did they really say push Primo?
Yeah, that's what it says here.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
He was a unified World Tag Team champion and got nothing.
You can join us on the phone lines, the number 276-ESPN, 276-3776, or all over the world at 1-800-990-ESPN, 1-800-990-3776. I would say the highlight of Raw last week had to be the 1-2-3 pinfall victory that The Miz achieved over John Cena.
You know about your boy, The Miz?
What about my boy, The Miz?
Biggest Money in the Bank failure of all time.
Oh, do tell, please.
Every time.
I'm listening.
Because he tries to cash it in.
He's an opportunist.
He can never close the deal.
But he's smart enough to get out of the deal when it goes south.
Terrible.
Here's what's going to ruin the whole thing of Money in the Bank. Because if you cash it in, you call for the bell.
Once the bell rings, it's cashed in, but apparently not.
Right. So, okay, like Kane did it, he cashed it in and won the thing right there. With Miz, what they shouldn't do is get the referee and go, okay, here. Once you give up that briefcase to me as a fan,
you should lose it.
You should do something with it. You just can't take it back. And
Next on Raw, there was a Divas
wait, hold on a second.
matchup. What? I thought we were
The
done.
Miz can't beat Sheamus.
The Miz can't beat Sheamus,
no,
you're saying?
He
but
can't
they're
beat
setting that program up in case you hadn't noticed.
It's not going to happen.
Not going to happen. No Miz versus Sheamus.
No, they're just teasing it to fill airtime until SummerSlam.
You are amazingly honest. You are amazing. No, it's not honesty.
You think Miz is going to beat Sheamus for the title?
I didn't say that. I said they're setting up that program between the two of them, which is intriguing.
No, a program is a series of matches.
What they're setting up.
What will happen? What will happen is Miz.
Just you wait. It'll prove itself.
Miz will pin Sheamus at something.
You got a fever?
I do.
Miz will never pin Sheamus.
But it won't be.
Never? Wait. Never. In a singles match. In a singles match.
You just said it.
In a singles match.
Thank you for the sound clip.
That's where I
appreciate that pause.
That's where I was going. He's going to pin him in some faction, but it'll never be.
John Cena?
But it'll never be for the title. It could be in a tag team match, like you mentioned, or kind of a gimmicky thing. But
the only way he can beat Sheamus is with that briefcase. That's it.
Right. And inside the briefcase, it's not money. It's
he'll have like some concrete block in there or something.
Right. Exactly.
But you know what, Damien? I'm sorry for interrupting you because you were talking about my second favorite star on Raw, the Divas champion.
Alicia Fox. She had about a 28-second match on Monday, which I'm not faulting her for. But what I
she looked good doing it.
She looked good doing it. She also looked good beating up Jillian.
I mean, she is taking care of business right now. She's a star.
But a championship match, a Divas match, 27 seconds.
You know what? The Ultimate Warrior beat Honky Tonk Man in 19
You're just
seconds.
saying that because it was the kaboom of the week this week.
Okay. King Kong Bundy beat S.D. Jones in 9 seconds.
You're just saying that because
Barry Windham beat Mr. Fuji in 22 seconds.
Frank, do you remember you weren't here last week?
How was that?
Picture it, Sicily. It was somehow or another Jake the Snake in the ring.
Oh, boy.
With Mr. Fuji.
Yeah. Is this
Jake-
the one with the hat?
Oh,
The hat-
no. What about the hat, Frank?
The
Please
hat
tell.
does not
Please tell.
come off after
yeah,
DDT.
see, it exists. The hat does not come off, and what does Fuji do to sell it? He lays in the middle of the ring, and he does what? You don't remember that? He humps the ring.
Yeah.
Hey, this is PG.
Cusses.
It's Wednesday.
It's PG.
It's hump day.
Oh, okay. Well, go ahead, by all means.
That video's got to be somewhere.
Shawn Michaels is now on Twitter.
No, that's not Shawn Michaels. It's a farce.
How do you know?
Well, I got hot news on Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, but you don't have any Twitter hot news on Shawn Michaels.
Well, I know it's not
You've increased my personal core temperature by 2 degrees so far this show.
How so?
I'm just saying. You're attacking The Miz for no reason.
You know
did?
what?
What?
Ask the Chatmosphere if The Miz can beat Sheamus.
Bookworm 316, Miz is awesome. Fueled System, Miz is awesome.
They're saying
don't
he's awesome.
carry American Luchador. The Miz is getting over so much more now with the Money in the Bank briefcase.
Because he's...
Bookworm 316, really? Somebody else. Really, Dave?
Oh.
Yeah, you want me to ask the Chatmosphere?
Yeah. Done did. Sheamus is the star, baby. He's the world champion, fella. I will say this. Miz is entertaining with his promos with Sheamus.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Yeah.
I'm amused by that.
Do I amuse
Like
you?
Joe
Are you
Pesci.
laughing at me? Yeah.
Hey, you know what? Before I forget, I got to shoot out a big special congratulations to Jenny and Scott.
Engaged.
Got engaged. Big fans of PWR, big fans of GLCW Blizzard Brawl. They're even big fans of the cause.
Frank, you're still ordained, right?
That's another show.
Just say yes, Frank. It's a payday.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. You can always print up the documents
Hallelujah.
online, you know?
Legal Zoom?
Yes.
276-3776 or all over the world, 1-800-990-376. We got a caller in Madison, Wisconsin, Arkansas, and Florida waiting. We'll get to you in just a few minutes.
Great Khali.
Yeah, how about that?
He's over.
He dominated this
Was
past Monday
that,
night.
though, was it not a kind of a knife chop to the guy's head?
You? Really? No, yeah, that's fine. That wasn't a woo chop.
He's done that
You know,
forever.
you keep talking about Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
All these people, he was removed from all the video clips. Wrong answer.
He, with the exception of
It was
one.
modified. No, 2. I counted.
Okay.
I rewound and counted.
But we know why.
Back and
But
to
we
the
know
left.
why. We got the
Back
real reason
and
why.
to the left.
Uh-huh.
This is the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com.
We walk alone in the unknown. We live to win another victory.
I'm going to put an end to all the rumors right now. Are you ready for a major announcement?
Sure.
Not diluted TNA style, but a real major announcement?
Uh-huh.
It was me. I'm in charge of Nexus. That's right. I
Damian Nelson?
am the higher power.
No.
Epic failure.
Really?
No.
Eh.
You know, it'd be cool if it
Can
was
I blame
Shane
it on the
McMahon.
writers?
That would be
That
cool.
brought that up a couple weeks ago.
Yes, you
Here
did.
comes
But I
the
don't-
money.
I don't know if what his status is with his family.
I don't know.
Or Stephanie.
Stephanie?
Where to, Stephanie? This is the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report. One of my favorite segments in WWE history. Where to, Stephanie? I'm going to find that clip. Tillman, can we have that?
Someone sent it to us a few years
Really?
ago. Yeah.
Where to, Stephanie? This is the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. Damian Nelson, David Hero, and the Cause here with you live on Wednesday,
Frank Costantino, everybody.
July 28th, 2010. It
Almost
is
August.
practically August. Where has the summer gone? These hot summer nights?
I wrote a song about it.
Let me find myself here.
Did
We
you
came
see
back with that
hold on,
Nexus.
wait, hold on a second. You know how we were talking about last Friday being at the TNA house show?
Yeah, down in Bloomington, Illinois.
Did you see the picture I tweeted of Damien going to the catering office?
I did.
How funny was that? And they knew him by name when he walked through the door.
They
Hey,
had
Damien!
They had my preferred menu items
for
too.
you.
Oh, they're good. They're good to me that way.
It was hilarious.
Dang good mashed potatoes, man.
Did they have chives and all that? And all those fixings?
That's for me to know, and you never to be invited.
Wow, that's hurtful.
I'm very protective about catering.
I couldn't even get in there. It's like, Damien's show. All right.
WWE NXT just last night. We saw yet another elimination, and the question I have before we even talk about the elimination is why should anyone care about eliminations when everybody who was eliminated on Season 1 is headlining SummerSlam?
Oh, they are headlining, aren't they?
And main eventing.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't they dilute or diminish?
Wow, what does that tell you? That Nexus can headline a pay-per-view?
Will it really be the last match?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It will be the main event of the evening.
Something big's going to happen. I don't think the match is all that.
It's going to be John Cena.
I don't dispute.
And I'm not going to put my stamp on it.
Will it be better than SummerSlam '95?
That was Kevin Nash versus Mabel, right?
Yep.
It's so funny you bring that up, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because I believe one of those participants told us that was the worst SummerSlam match of all time.
And I've never talked to Mabel before.
No, you haven't.
Frank.
Yes, sir.
You're the reasonable one around here. Smart one, the responsible one.
That's hurtful.
It was a play on words. Triple H's theme song. Smart one, the responsible one. I've been singing a lot.
I never listened to the lyrics. I just bobbed my head.
All of Season 1. Eliminations didn't matter. One dang bit. Because they're all headlining pay-per-view, major pay-per-view, the biggest party of the summer. Why should I care that Eli Cottonwood was eliminated last night and that his mustache was eliminated with him?
Well, they're going to make you care. They're going to try their best. But to kind of duplicate what they're doing now with Nexus, I think it would just really make that show just irrelevant. So what I think will happen at SummerSlam is finally the whole Nexus thing will start to depart.
Oh, I don't think so.
Yeah, I think so because how many more weeks is next to? Another, 3 weeks?
Yeah, but I think NXT 2 is going to be different. You know, they'll just have the one winner because they can't do the same thing all the time.
Right. But I think they want to at least differentiate that with this current Nexus. Because you can't have the
Here's what you got to look at.
You can't have the Magnificent Seven here for the next 3 months.
No, but here's what you got to look at. They are building the NXT brand by having Nexus.
Right.
That's what they're doing. Because now, okay, these guys came from NXT. Well, let's watch NXT and see who the next group of guys could be now. They're building that brand.
They'll pick one.
Husky Harris will be the winner.
You're still going with that, huh?
Absolutely.
Hey, Frank, oh, God, I'm drawing a blank here. Who is it? Do you know who Husky Harris's pro is?
Well, I can tell you. I see his toys marked down every toy store I go to.
Let's go to the phone lines, and let's go to Madison, Wisconsin.
Madtown.
Troy, you're live on the Pro Wrestling Report.
What's going on?
What's going on there, Troy?
Hey, Dave, how you doing, my man?
Fantastic. How are you?
I'm all right. First-time caller, long-time listener, you know. I
Great
got a little
topic.
bit of beef with Damian Nelson, though.
What do I do now?
As many times as I email this man, he never returns my emails. So that's why I had to break up the Damian Nelson figure that one day.
It's nothing personal. I just don't. I can't.
I'm joking.
I need a
But
PA.
He doesn't return phone calls either. Don't worry about
Let
it.
me clear that up. Personal assistant.
But I will tell you this. I think they're doing the independent wrestlers like Low-Key and Bryan Danielson a job because there's no way in the world that someone like The Miz can beat someone like Low-Key. We all know that.
Here's a question, Troy. What we saw happen to Bryan Danielson, and you know, that's still got some controversy surrounding it. We see Low-Key, who's now referencing a couple times he was Low-Key before. Is it a rib to these guys? Are they bringing them in just to bury them?
Of course, because they're not WWE bred talent. I mean, they were saying the same thing years ago about, you know, Dusty Rhodes when he came in, because he wasn't a WWE bred talent. So therefore, they wanted to rib him, put the polka dots on him.
But you know what, though, Troy?
Excuse me?
What do people remember about Dusty Rhodes. They don't remember how great he was in the 80s. They don't remember how great he was in NWA. They remember Sapphire and the polka dots.
But see, I remember how great he was in the 80s because that's what I came up with.
Right.
I came up with him, Nikita Koloff, the Road Warrior.
Nikita Koloff.
But the reason why
You remember Mr. Fuji getting DDT? How did you go from Nikita Koloff to Mr. Fuji?
But when was the
I'm
polka
not
dot thing?
internationally
The
known.
whole polka dot Sapphire thing was at the end of his career.
Now you're Rob Bass all of a sudden?
She thinks too.
And another thing, I know it might be a little bit off subject, but the whole TNA Hardcore Justice pay-per-view coming up, they have some pretty good names, even though these guys are older.
Like?
I mean, they have RVD, they have Sabu, they have Too Cold Scorpio.
Flash Funk?
Yeah, Flash Funk.
Ooh, Flash, you are so funky.
You know, something like that. But do you guys think if this but if this pay-per-view makes it big, okay.
It's bad for wrestling.
Do you think the whole ECW thing will overshadow the TNA now?
It'll become a monster of its own. It'll be bad for wrestling if this thing draws well. Because Dixie Carter will then think it's a viable product.
Right.
When it's not.
It needs to have its one-time thing just for nostalgia.
No, they already had the one-time thing.
Well, they already did, but that was, 5 years ago?
Yeah.
So you have a whole new crop of fans that are going to say, hey, this is pretty cool. Hopefully just for one-time shot.
I hope so, too. I mean, bringing back some of those older wrestlers, but I think personally they should bring in some of the TNA wrestlers. I mean, there should not be no reason why a Too Cold Scorpio can't go against a AJ Styles, something like that, you know.
It'd be a terrible match.
You think so?
Absolutely. Too Cold Scorpio hasn't been in the ring nearly as often to be ring ready for a match with AJ Styles.
I thought he wrestles competitively like all the time in Noah.
Well, here's the thing. The TNA stars, and we'll talk about this later, do not want anything to do with this pay-per-view. No. They have no desire to be on it. They don't want to be involved with it. They don't even want to show up and watch it live.
And I think, Dave, it's important to point out that people who you would not think did not want to have anything to do with it don't want to have anything to do with it.
Yeah.
Mainstays with the company.
Really?
It tells the story.
When the TNA talent is saying, I hope these guys get drug tested before they go in our ring, you know there's bad feelings.
But at the same time, David, can't you expect some bitterness from those who are being displaced by this pay-per-view?
You know,
should.
But honestly, we asked that question, and they didn't seem to be that bothered by it. They really didn't. I thought for sure some of the guys would be hot about it, but they're like, no.
They would have said it.
Yeah, they would have. You know, but they're like, no, that's fine. We just want nothing to do with it. Don't you
At
think
all. They want
nothing,
to be miles away from it.
Don't you think that Dixie Carter would sit down with her mainstays, with the ones that go to war with her every week and say, hey, what do you guys think about this? And she didn't. She didn't consult anybody about it. And yeah, okay, fine, it's her company. She can say or do whatever she wants. But these are the guys that, you know, she's supposed to be loyal to.
Afloat,
yeah,
right. So if they do add, you know, the TNA wrestlers with this,
they're not going to.
They shouldn't, because you have a Too Cold Scorpio, whomever, take 12 chair shots in a row and keep getting up and keep getting up and keep getting up and keep coming up. Right.
And then get hit with the purple dinosaur.
And pinned by the dinosaur. I think it was green, by the way.
The TNA wrestlers should, I agree, just stay away from the whole thing. Let these guys have their fun and whatever, enjoy it, and then end it.
No. And we'll talk about later how they should be doing it, and now they've jacked it up even further, in my opinion. Thank you for that call, Troy, out in Madison. Very good discussion with Troy in Madison. Thanks for calling in, and we are going to take a time out. When we come back, we'll get to John in Arkansas, Gilberto in Florida, and you could be a part of it as well. 276-3776 or 1-800-990-3776 to be a part of the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com.
540 ESPN. Don't miss the game with Bill Johnson and Steve Haywood. Weeknights at 6 on 540 ESPN.
Wow. Are you serious? The scary thing is if you're bobbing your head right now.
The scary thing is you remember every word, don't you?
No, I don't.
I don't
I
listen
can
to the
honestly
lyrics.
say I've never heard this song before.
Come on. I think this is a WCW version, so I can understand it. Not many people ever saw what they did.
No. Wow.
What's the truth?
No, just the song.
I wonder,
Funky. You know what we'll do? We'll find the video, because remember we had the video, which was in WCW. We'll put that on the website.
Too Cold Scorpio.
Everybody. Thank you for joining us here on the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report. Damian Nelson, the Cause, and Dave Hero, live Wednesday, July.
April?
July.
Need your tax
Wow.
July. My April through October, for reasons I won't get into, it's all one big month to me.
It's April.
Dude. Really?
Yeah.
I'm concerned right now. You know, put the Rey Mysterio Slurpee straw down.
So, my new favorites on NXT is that's what we're talking about.
Yes, we are.
I
Husky
picked-
Harris.
I picked Cavill.
Oh, wow. That's
I picked him
going
first
out on a limb.
to
isn't
win, to go all the way. You picked Husky Harris.
it? Mm-hmm.
Frank, I forget who you picked.
I picked, what's his name's son?
McGillicuddy.
Yeah.
McGillicuddy. All right.
Dr. McGillicuddy.
I have three favorites now. I'm still picking Cavill to go all the way. Even though I don't understand why he cared about Laycool being knocked off the apron, if he really doesn't want them as his coaches.
Because he's a gentleman.
That's not
And
what.
Layla's
That's not
hot.
the way he's presented himself so far.
You gotta love Layla.
Alex Riley, who I think is golden on the microphone, guys.
Yeah, he is good. I think he's good.
There's just nothing you like, is there?
I do. I don't watch a lot of NXT, I'll be honest with you, you know?
Husky Harris, who is vintage enough, yet new enough and different enough from everything else
Dude,
we're
he's
seeing
Mike
in WWE.
Rotundo's kid.
I know, but as far as his presentation, his look,
Got a great look.
it's so different from anything else, which intrigues you, I think. One of my new faves, along with Cavill. You still going with Husky Harris there, huh, David?
I'm not going to change my mind.
Husky Harris all the way.
All the way.
Grooming tips and all?
He doesn't need him. He's a star without him.
Kaz, you sticking with...
I'm sticking with Dr. McGillicuddy.
No. Michael McGillicuddy.
Isn't it a shame that you got a Hennig and a Rotundo, and they give them different gimmick names? Terrible.
Yeah, but the question is, would expectations be too high?
No, because they're already saying who they're the kids of.
Right, exactly. Exactly.
Just like they're saying the Usos are Rikishi's sons.
But they're
you know?
not. Are they?
But they are.
Both are?
Yeah.
I thought one was.
No, they're twin brothers.
You know who's pretty wild looking?
Tamika?
Yeah.
You like her, don't you?
I am saying this. I think that if
boy.
it
If
could
she's
be a
eating crackers,
WrestleMania
you're not
moment.
asking her to leave, huh?
Not at all. It's a WrestleMania moment. ODB
And Tamika?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm taking ODB.
one-on-one. Just a
Absolutely.
real match. Just a
ODB
fight.
would kill her. She had that coconut in
I
hand.
think Tamika's a little crazier.
Smacking up the coconut. Be all over with. Took out her dad, you can take out her.
Yep.
And you know ODB is the kind of girl that would have coconuts with her.
Randomly.
There is bam.
There'd be more to that, but yes, bam. You know what I thought? Again, I'll say the eliminations make no matter in the world to me because they've shown us with Season 1 that eliminations don't matter. But I'm enjoying NXT. It's an hour, so you know what you're getting into.
Yeah.
I don't like Michael Cole. Two things. He needs to button his shirt. It's just obnoxiously irritating to me.
You know what's
He's
irritating
two
to
buttons
me?
down, and you got to be wanting button down.
You know what's irritating to me?
What's that?
Are all of these fans that say, look, he's not even looking at the monitor. He's not looking at the screen. Okay, shall we remind everybody that wrestling is a written show? Okay?
And for him to remember everything.
I mean, come on. Seriously. We all know that there's no GM sending emails to him. Stop it. I don't want any more tweets or emails about it.
A couple of tweets before we go to the SportsCenter update. Super Rush says, Cornette was right. TNA has gone back to the 90s. I can't wait for the Sabu versus Sandman botch fest. H. Carter says, actually we'll honor that request later. Chill Mascara says, I loved ECW. I support TNA, but all this makes no sense to me. With no Heyman coming in, I really worry about what will happen. We're going to talk about TNA Impact, talk about WWE SmackDown. We've got some hot news you won't get anywhere else, and callers from Delaware, Arkansas, and Florida on the phone. This is the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. We are going to also we talked about it earlier, Frank.
Yeah.
But we've got some fun clips to play later on.
All right.
When am I going to break the Shawn Michaels hot news?
Probably when we go to hot news, which I just teased a few seconds ago. You were texting.
I'm confirming a story.
Are you texting with a T, right?
Source with a T, yeah. I don't do that stuff that you do. Okay?
This is the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN. Welcome back to the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. We're live on Wednesday, August July 27th.
Holy crap.
2010. Keep playing that, Sylvan. I want to hear it some more. This gets me going. This makes me wonder if Frank has been wrong all along about TNA's relaunch of ECW. This makes me wonder if this could actually be something worth watching on pay-per-view on August 8th. This makes me wonder if ECW will finally get its proper send-off and not the burial that the brand got from World Wrestling Entertainment.
Why are they owed a send-off? What send-off did WCW get? What send-off did the AWA get? Georgia Championship Wrestling, the UWF, Memphis Champion, none of them got a send-off.
But ECW was different.
ECW killed wrestling.
I 100% agree with you. But it was different. And it killed wrestling.
I'm not saying that the guys in ECW were not talented. They were extremely talented.
No, they're just doing what
and
they were.
You know what? They did raise the bar to a certain extent. But they also made things so unrealistic.
Right.
You know?
Exactly. And I've said it many, many times. It ruined wrestling to a point. But now they want to see, what people think of it today.
Thank you to all of you joining us in the chatmosphere at pwrshow.com, where the conversation runs wild during the breaks. Kane30 says, good to see the ECW leader Dreamer hugging Dixie. That made me feel extreme.
Oh, that reminds me about Dixie, all right? I'm sitting there and I'm watching Impact, and I see Dixie yelling at Al Snow, D'Lo Brown, and Simon Diamond. And Al makes the comment, we didn't know what's going on. And what does she say? You're agents. You're TNA management. You're not supposed to know what's going on. Really?
Really?
Come on. You have all day to prepare those lines. And that's how it comes across?
Houston Hindog, Dreamer crying on TV again, reminded me of why ECW was so extreme. Got some patient callers here on the phone line, in the phone zone. You can join us, 276-3776 or 1-800-990-3776, 1-800-990-3776. Let's go to a very patient John in Arkansas who wants to talk about Nexus.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Hey,
First-time caller. Enjoy the show. Catch a lot of it on the YouTube stream, too.
Thank you very much.
Okay, on the ECW thing that you're talking about, I'm kind of with Dave. It's scary. I'm with Dave on a lot of things, actually.
See?
There is a voice of reason, Dave. Don't worry.
I appreciate it.
Don't worry, there is a voice of reason. Now, I think that, unlike a lot of people, I think there's still life to veterans from the past. You just can't rely on them to be the core main draw of your show. You have to build new talent around your veterans and filter in your veterans as special attractions here and there. And, yay, that's all nice and good, and everybody's happy because, look, we get to go see the circus because there's everything for you.
But, John, by the way, are you from Hope, Arkansas?
Hope? No.
Oh.
No, because there is no hope. for this ECW show.
Sound like a Little Rock guy.
John, here's the thing, though. Wrestling fans like nostalgia. Wrestling fans like special moments. Wrestling fans like something to attach to emotionally, and a one-night blow-off for something that they may have once seen as important or impactful could mean a lot to a lot of fans.
Yes, I understand that side of the token, too. However, it's been done, and I don't know that we can really do anything of major substance with this one. The first time was very, very good, and, you know, that was great for the nostalgia buffs. I myself enjoyed that, even though I wasn't a huge, giant ECW fan. I respected everybody that worked there. Almost everybody. Let me reiterate that statement. Almost everybody. I think that there's no life to any of this going on, unless they figure out a way to incorporate the guys who can still somehow passably work into a TNA program, not an ECW program. ECW is dead. It's over. It's gone. Bye-bye. It went out the door. It's time to move on.
All right. Well, John, thank you very much for. Did you have something to say about Nexus as well, John? Oh, sorry about that, John. Thank you for that call.
You know what?
Down in Arkansas.
John just made me think more about this whole hardcore whatever pay-per-view.
Did it have anything to do with him saying he agrees with everything you said?
Well, not really. Well, a little bit. This reminds me, it's like having Nolan Ryan pitch against Don Mattingly right now. Yeah, it sounds great.
Frank, that's out of my league.
But who is going to want to watch that? It's going to be uneventful.
You know what the worst-case scenario is going to be, David?
No.
This does the best pay-per-view business they've had all year, and it keeps going. Bound for Glory ends up being...
They'll create a brand-new monster.
Bound for Hardcore Glory.
Okay, this pay-per-view is on the 8th, correct?
Yes.
When is TNA's next one?
September. And what is that one called? No Surrender?
Yeah.
Just so
but
you...
here's the thing.
Wait, hold on.
I'm trying to...
Here's the thing.
Are they waiting?
Here's the thing. I will say this. Some of the feedback we've gotten is that we've been too negative about this ECW thing. We haven't given it a chance. We'll not give it a chance.
We did for 10 years.
Here's the thing. Good point, Frank. Here's the thing. Fundamentally, there is not much of a point to TNA doing what they're doing at the expense of their own company. Now, at the same time, there could be an argument made that this simply gives them more of an opportunity to build into their September and October pay-per-views. If that's the case, great. That works. But at its core, and from what we've seen, from what we've heard, from what we have gathered from all that's happening, this is the wrong time for this, and I don't believe the right people are there to make it as impactful as it could be.
Let me tell you something. I got a sneak peek of the No Surrender pay-per-view poster, and I think things are going to come together nicely in September. I think TNA will get back on track.
They should, but what they're hoping for is this pay-per-view makes a lot of money. So it's up to you, the fans. If this gets hardly any buys, it's not anywhere that what they projected, it's going to be a disaster.
But you know what? I firmly believe this is probably going to be one of their most successful pay-per-views.
I'm going to predict that also because it's been about 5 years because we've done something like this. And why not see for 2.5 hours guys getting beaten over the head with a chair 55 times, guys going through tables 6-7 times, getting up and again. It's going to be, hey, that's different. 4 nights. And we'll see what happens in September.
4 a night for 3 hours.
David Hero, you said last week, what's the problem inherently with this pay-per-view? Or any TNA pay-per-view?
Nobody knows about it?
There you go.
They got to market it.
And here's the thing. How obscure is ECW right now?
Exactly. And I will say this. Anybody who was a fan of ECW or cared about ECW is already watching TNA. They're already ordering or not ordering TNA programming. They're already bought in. So where's the growth out of this? And why do we keep talking about it? I guess is the other question. I mean, it keeps coming up, and there's a lot to discuss about it, but it is, from my standpoint, just frustrating because I think they need several months of focus and not all this hot-shotting.
You said it earlier, Dave. If they incorporate TNA guys with this pay-per-view, it really could ruin.
Put it this way: Shane Douglas wanted to work with Ric Flair, and Ric Flair wants nothing to do with it. So now Shane Douglas is not going to be on the show. Okay, the TNA talent wants nothing to do with this pay-per-view, with the exception of the guys that are already signed in TNA that were ECW originals, like RVD, like that.
Right.
But none of them want anything to do with it.
I don't blame them.
Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Nelson?
Yeah.
I mean, you were there. You heard the comments.
I did. I was. Let's go to the phones. Let's go to Florida. Gilberto, you're live on the Pro Wrestling Report.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Tremendous.
Just about the whole ECW thing, I think they're really just using this as a big springboard for their next couple of pay-per-views, like you guys reiterated. But I think the one thing that TNA needs to really try and do, because they've been trying over the last couple of years to have different pay-per-view events in different venues, like they had St. Louis for Lockdown and such and such. But I think TNA really needs to try and take Impact out of the Impact Zone, because when I watch old TNA DVDs like Bound for Glory, they make it seem like, oh man, it's our show, it's the best show of the year, but it just feels like a 3-hour Impact, when you watch it.
Right, because it's in the same facility.
Yeah, and with the whole NXT thing, I'm liking it. I didn't really think that they would try this whole invasion type of angle thing after the NXT Season 1. I just thought those guys would be gone and maybe come back on SmackDown or something, but I feel that this is working for WWE because it's different. It's not, they've done invasion angles before, but this one, it's not to push a promotion or anything like that. It's to push more young talent, because WWE, if you look at their guys that are usually around the top, like Triple H, Undertaker, Jericho, 2 of those guys are injured, and Jericho, his contract's up in, I believe, the fall, and he has a lot of things coming up too. But I just think that this whole NXT thing is good for WWE. It's going to make a lot of young talent.
All right, Gilberto, thank you very much for calling in. The challenge, though, is, as JR said recently, as he's been spending some time down in FCW, is there's nobody there. They've run through their developmental talent with 16 of them being called up for NXT, and they're doing a Divas casting call, by the way, is WWE.
They're going to try to find the next Alicia Fox, your Divas World Champion.
Let's go to Delaware.
Way to no-sell it. Thanks, pal.
I'm sorry?
Way to no-sell it. Thanks, pal.
I'm sorry. My headsets were off. Did you say anything?
I was talking about Cody Rhodes, but obviously you didn't hear that.
Oh, man, I'm sorry I missed it. It's probably good.
It was fabulous.
We want to welcome everybody listening to us on Blog Talk Radio. By the way, David Hero, did you know that the Pro Wrestling Report is in one of the top wrestling programs and top sports programs on Blog Talk Radio, the Internet Wrestling
I heard that
broadcast. It is didn't take long for that to happen. That's what happens when we have such great fans. Yep. We're going to go to the phones now. We're going to go to Delaware. I was watching a very interesting show on the History Channel yesterday.
Was it about Delaware?
Why the states have their shapes.
It's hot in here.
It was a good show. Delaware, the Mason-Dixon is between Maryland and Delaware? Not?
Yes.
Anyways.
I'll have a fries with that, please.
You're live here on the Pro Wrestling Report.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Are you in a drive-thru or something?
Dairy Queen?
I'm sorry?
Are you in a drive-thru?
Yeah, I'm actually I'm pulling over right now.
Better than getting pulled over. GT, what do you have for us?
Hey, I have 3 quick questions. My first 2 have to do with, world championships. I wanted to know, does that ECW title, does that count as, a world championship?
Depends on who held it.
Well, it's recognized by PWI as a world champion.
Yeah.
So, John Morrison is, was a world champion?
Sure.
Okay.
Yep.
And then my second question about the championships, that now the world title that was the ECW title now is the world championship. Does WWE keep that around just because of its lineage, or do they really recognize it? And if so, will they ever change the way that belt looks? Because like the WWE title, I guess in my lifetime has changed like 8 times, and that belt that they have now still looks like the one that Hulk Hogan spray painted NWO on.
Yeah, they it is the same belt, and that belt has so much history to it, though. It's like there's that belt and the NWA belt. Those are the two belts, and I would say even the USWA or AWA belt. Those are the iconic belts.
USWA is iconic?
And the AWA belt, they were almost the same.
No, they weren't. You can't say the USWA belt.
In my humble opinion over here,
That's
David,
not humble.
I would also put the Intercontinental Championship and the original, not original, but the most used, the demolition version of the Tag Team Championships. All iconic. I agree.
You wouldn't say Hogan's Winged Eagle belt is iconic?
You know, the thing I remember most about the Winged Eagle belt, 2 things. When Kurt Hennig destroyed it in the back at Saturday Night's main event with the hammer.
Okay.
And Leapin' Lanny Papa was dancing around all the way to the back. Oh, yeah. That was. You want us to find that clip, too, Mr. I don't remember
because
wrestling?
the Winged Eagle belt also went to Bret Hart. It went to Shawn Michaels.
They brought
and
it
Steve
back
Austin.
after Perfect destroyed it. And when Lifestyles of Rich and Famous is Robin Leach stumbled down the aisle drunk at WrestleMania 4 for the tournament. Thank you for that, GT. Thanks for calling, GT,
Thanks,
by the
pal.
way. Stumbled down the belt drunk with stumbled down the aisle drunk with the belt at WrestleMania 4, which is when that belt debuted, by the way. Bet you didn't know that there, DHHS.
You know what? I just forget about some of that stuff.
Uh-huh.
I can't store it all, baby.
Thank you, GT. How is GT listening to us in his car in Delaware?
He may have the iPhone app.
He's a blue hen.
Everybody should have that iPhone app. You know there's exclusive content now, including video from tonight's show that's going to be available only?
Oh, come on. That video?
Yeah, that video.
Not right.
Uh-huh.
Frank, I would call your attorney.
Frank brings his attorney with him every week.
Is that who that guy is in the corner over there?
Absolutely.
He's so quiet.
Yeah. Little Charles Mason over there.
You haven't met the suit?
Let's go to Philadelphia, the birthplace and home of ECW. John, you're live here on the Pro Wrestling Report.
Thank you, Damien, for saying exactly what I was going to open up my statements with. Where am I from again?
Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
No, it's Philadelphia.
Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the home and birthplace of Extreme Championship Wrestling. Now, yeah, exactly, yeah, I'm proud of that. David Hero, let me acknowledge and respond to what you said earlier. ECW may have ruined wrestling as we know it today, but ECW was the reason wrestling had to change.
You're right. I'll give you
that. It had to evolve. ECW was the catalyst for the Attitude Era and everything after ECW.
Yep.
So let's get that one straight.
I don't think anybody can discount that.
I'm not going to discount it.
Or disagree with it, but the point, and I don't want to speak for him, but the point Frank and David have made
you can speak for me.
is that ECW changed wrestling as a whole in such a way that it diminished a lot of the impactful things that used to make wrestling more exciting.
Well, I understand that, yeah, like the tables and the chairs and all the weapons and everything. It was at times it was comical, but also at the same time, you had promos from guys between Raven and Tommy Dreamer. Those promos were by far one of the greatest promos I've ever seen in my life because that storyline took literally years. Years.
I'm sorry. What's your name again?
John.
John. I want you to pull up Ric Flair promos from the 70s and 80s, and that puts the ECW stuff to shame. Okay,
okay.
I mean,
I agree. But
I know what you're saying, John, because those promos, ECW were like more of the work shoot promos.
Right.
You know what I missed about ECW? Kimona Wanalea.
She's been on this very program. That video is available at pwrshow.com. Now, John, have you attended any of the recent Ring of Honor events?
I have not, but I did have an opportunity. I actually had tickets in my hand but they weren't mine. But I haven't had a clear shot at going to ROH, but I am planning to, though.
All right. Well, John, are you going to be ordering the August 8th ECW version of the TNA pay-per-view?
Absolutely not. I called last week, and I told you guys exactly what I thought. I don't know what the hell TNA is doing.
Whoa. Wait, John.
Go ahead.
I'm just trying to figure you out here, man.
Frank's rubbing his temple.
I'm going to assume that you enjoyed ECW back in its day, correct?
Of course.
I think you just answered your question.
And now you're not going to watch this?
What does that tell you?
Because as an ECW fan, I mean, again, I'm from Philly, born and bred ECW. So, for me, ECW died once One Night Stand hit in 2005.
Okay.
That was it for you.
Over. That was it for me. That was it. So when I see these guys coming up on TNA and doing all these remembrance shows and all this, it's like, come on, man, really, dude? Like, how many homage shows are there really going to be for a promotion that's been dead for almost 10 years now? How many times are you really going to kill? You're killing it, over and over and over and over again.
That's an interesting point, because TNA is trying to find the fans such as yourself to buy this thing. And if there are more like you, and I'm going to assume that there are, I mean, it's still going to be, I think it's going to be one of their higher pay-per-views buys of the year, but it'll be interesting. I mean, that's an interesting call.
Well, let me respond to that one. Damien said earlier that a lot of fans that watch ECW are now already TNA fans, right?
Yeah.
So, to that point, then they're no longer ECW fans. They're now TNA fans.
Well,
So TNA, by doing this ECW homage thing, again, is really not doing anything for themselves. Right. They're going out of what they really should be doing, which is they should be promoting their own company. They should make TNA a trademark.
Yep.
They are not doing that by bringing guys who are over the hill, still very intelligent in the wrestling business, but they're over the hill.
Now, what we could be missing, though, and thank you for that call, John, very spirited discussion, what we could be missing, maybe there's some big swerve plan. Maybe this is the way to get somewhere. I know, I'm hoping.
No, it's just going to be all Tommy Dreamer has the book for the entire show. And what they're finding out is a lot of the ECW guys are turning him down for this pay-per-view.
Wouldn't you figure all that out first?
No, you'd think so.
Let's talk about
It's kind of funny that, Al Snow is in TNA, was one of ECW's biggest stars. I mean, when you think of that pay-per-view with Shane Douglas with 3,000 heads, there's no spot for him on the show yet. I'm just saying.
They've got a week to figure it out.
Kind of frustrating.
Let's go to hot news, David Hero. We've got some hot news items, and there's been one story circulating around the web about Shawn Michaels being removed from all WWE programming, him and Vince having a falling out, Vince McMahon and it was all over Bryan Danielson's release. Now, it's no secret that Bryan Danielson, I believe, came from Shawn Michaels' wrestling school when he had it down in San Antonio. Now, that's what everybody's reporting.
We're not reporting that, are we?
We're not. There's actually much more to that story, and it all circles around WWE trying to keep that leash on Shawn Michaels.
See, Shawn Michaels went to Vinnie Mac and said, hey, I'm retired. Why don't you throw me a couple extra bones and I'll do a couple appearances for you here and there, like 10 to 15 appearances a year? And what does Vince say? Well, why don't we do 50?
58.
50, yeah, between 50 and 60. Well, if you do the math, there's 2 travel days.
This is how smart a lot of these guys are in the business, by the way.
Okay, there's 2 travel days plus the day of the event. Well, 60 now really is 180.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
When he told Vince no, he's not interested, he got all, what's the right word for that?
Worked up, hot and bothered.
Worked up, hot, agitated, and reminded him that he's the guy that made Shawn Michaels, and
I made you.
Now you can be irrelevant and you'll never be, heard from again, kind of thing. Isn't that amazing?
It's amazing.
Well, that's
and
the feeling
Vince
right
was
now.
also upset that Shawn retired. He thought Shawn, should have waited a while, but Yeah, it all comes down to Vince not getting what he wants.
You know what's interesting is and that's a fact check.
Yeah, those sources have been confirmed. You can't get much closer than what we got them from.
You know, here's the thing. I was going to toot our own horn, but there's no need. I mean, just when you really want to know something, come here. But
you know what it made me just think of?
What's that?
Once Vince McMahon is not running WWE, how much different it may be or may not be.
You know who I miss? Stephanie McMahon.
She most likely could.
She was a
take
good
over
on-air
the reins.
talent.
Yeah, she looked good, too.
Yeah, especially after she got the boobies at the floor.
Well, and here's the thing. She's expecting her third child.
Indeed.
And Triple H hasn't got that son yet.
Well, maybe...
Takes a man to make a boy, you know.
And you just aged 38 years.
What are you
by using that line? Yeah, it takes a man to make a boy.
Well, I'm just saying, you know. What the hell is this?
The Undertaker issued his...
Not 19 seconds to 23 seconds. Thank you, Tillman. We're going to go ahead. Ladies and gentlemen.
Botchamania.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's Michael Tillman.
No, he told me 18 seconds to 23. I was on 18.
You started at 23, dude. This is the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. American Dream. He's just a common man. Working hard with
To this day, all I see is Sapphire dancing.
and Jesse the Body Ventura being literally grossed out.
All I see is Frank, doing the shoulder dance over here.
Hey,
he's the cowbell.
Y'all remember that?
You missed the high note.
I don't do that. This is the Pro Wrestling Report. We're live Wednesday night, July 28th, 2010.
You still, all night long, you haven't even got it right. At least you're in the right month this time.
Really? What's in that Rey Mysterio cup over there?
Yeah. It's mysterious.
Mm-hmm.
Peach Mango.
Ah, peach
A
mango.
little something.
Damian Nelson, David Octavius the Tiberius Hero, and the Cause, Frank Costantino, with you
Goodness, I
live.
don't have a middle name.
They're from the 540 ESPN Time Warner Cable Studios, downtown Milwaukee. Rashi Brown not able to join us tonight. Got a little beat up on this past Monday's Ring of Honor on HDNet.
Oh, he's going to be hot when he hears you say it like that. That he got beat up?
I mean, beaten up, like
Just say he's not feeling
Why
well.
you sensationalize Mr. FN over there?
FN.
Yeah,
Fox News?
Yeah. It's you.
I'm fair and balanced, baby. Fair and balanced.
We just need to go to the phones. Thank you for calling all over the world. We've got Houston, California, and Boston waiting. Let's go to Dashingly Awesome Bowman in Boston. You're live.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Hello, Bowman.
Hey, I got a few things I want to talk about. First thing, I think Vince should send Dixie a thank you card for selling all the ECW DVDs he's about to sell.
You think so?
Oh,
I mean, who's watching TNA right now anyhow? I mean, they don't know that there's a pay-per-view coming up of ECW guys.
as soon as they see it, they'll be like, oh, let me type in the name Raven in Google. Wait a minute, why does all this ECW stuff, I can buy it at WWEshop.com? Click, done.
Yep.
Hey, done. And the other thing is, when I heard you play the Too Cold Scorpio theme, I laughed, and then I thought about this for a second. I was like, that could go perfect for Percy Watson.
Everybody, here comes Percy Watson.
Is Jim Johnson listening? I mean, if you're listening, man, I mean, you sample and copy everybody anyway. You want you to jock this one, too. But I mainly wanted to talk about new stars. We've been talking about so many, these old stars so much. Let's talk about somebody. Let's talk about the NXT guys for a little bit. And I actually like NXT Season 2. I feel like all the guys in this show actually can get somewhere, like without having to be a cohesive group to get over. I think each one of these guys have something unique about them that I think they better connect with fans individually than the Nexus group did individually themselves.
Absolutely, they have to do it individually, but it's too many at once. They're going to have to pick, and it's probably going to be Wade Barrett, maybe one other wrestler of that group that they will push.
Wade Barrett, the best promo guy on Raw right now.
Yeah,
next to The Miz.
The other guys have talent, and they're going to be
Cool
good.
is awesome, by the way. The Miz is awesome. I love.
Thank you both.
2 years later, I'm still right about The Miz.
Well, hold on a second. Wade Barrett isn't supposed to try to be funny. He's supposed to out there to get his group over, and he does a great job. The Miz has the luxury of doing jokes, which is an easy way to get cheap heat.
Miz is still awesome, though.
I'm not saying he's not awesome, but you can't compare the two styles of promo.
When he becomes a world champion, like I said he was going to be, I wonder what Dave Harris' excuse is going to be then.
I won't have one. I will congratulate The Miz if he ever becomes world champion.
And,
but he just won't beat Sheamus for it.
And out of the guys out of the current Nexus group that you just mentioned, I think you have probably Wade Barrett and I think what's his name?
Harvard, maybe?
No, Gabriel, Justin Gabriel. I keep confusing him. I want to call him BJ Gabriel, but he's not.
Right. Or Peter.
But Peter, Peter Gabriel. Yeah. I think he has a unique look to him that could work out, and I think if he could get better on the mic, I think David Otunga has something to him too. He's horrible in the ring, but I think if you just give him some time to talk and just be kind of a jerk, I think he can get some heel heat that way. And he does have an advantage of being, who his wife is. I think that does help, does bring some, little bit of cross appeal with it. But overall, I think the rest of the guys will eventually end up getting sent back down to be repackaged over again at some point. But I think the current Nexus stars, NXT stars, are a lot better. I think the only thing that was funny was with Eli Cottonwood. I didn't like who his pro pick was. It just didn't make a lot of sense. If you have a 7-foot giant, why don't you pair him with another 7-foot giant? So then they can bill him as a giant.
That's why when Husky Harris wins, it will not be because of Cody Rhodes.
Oh, no, it'll be because he's stashing Cody Rhodes. Come on. He's obviously going to win. I don't think Husky Harris is going to win, but I think he'll be.
Why you got to hate on Husky Harris?
He's predicting.
I like
he's not hating.
Oh, he's hating.
I like him.
Hey, I predicted. I'm a hater. Come on.
I like him, but I much prefer. I think I kind of like between Michael McGill.
Is it because he's heavy set? Is that why you don't like him? Jeez, this is terrible.
I like Henning's kid, Michael McGillicuddy, and I like Senshi Caval. I just laugh every time with Caval and Lake Cool. That is just funny. It's
the pink polo funny. Is what does it.
It's just the polo and everything else. Everybody started, the junk all over it, and I said, well, why don't we wait and just give this a chance? And it turns out to be something kind of funny. And it's working because obviously he's high in the ranking somewhere. I don't know.
Number 2?
Yeah, number 1 and number 2.
He's number 2.
So it's obviously working.
He
doesn't need a pro to me because everybody once you kind of type in the name Caval and the name gets linked to Senshi, you're going to see a whole bunch of stuff about him anyway. So why would he need a pro to be rubbed off on?
Because it's a rib on him because he hates women's wrestling. That's why they paired him with Lay Cool.
Oh, that makes it even better.
Mm-hmm.
It makes it even better. And I'm really happy for Layla because I really do I've met Layla in person. I really like Layla. I'm glad she's women's champion and she's not wasted like the other divas are.
Showcased on this upcoming SmackDown Friday night are the both of them. Bit of a decision to make.
The only thing hurting Michael McGillicuddy is he cannot cut a promo.
Not yet. No, he's no Alex Riley.
He does not have mic skills yet.
Not yet.
No, not even close. But I think about his, like you said, I think you're right. He's just right there. He just needs some type of mic skills. I guess that didn't come down in the family with him as of yet.
Maybe he'll get his comeuppance. Ha ha. I'm funny. Bowman, thank you for that call. We're out of time. Appreciate you calling in. That was Dashingly Awesome Bowman from out in Boston, Massachusetts. That's what it says here. I just read it. Frank, you don't believe me? It says it right
I believe you.
Dab, D-A-B.
Just a dab will do you.
This is the award-winning Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com.
540 ESPN. The sports Milwaukee cares about all day long on 540 ESPN.
1, 2, is this on? Yo, Jimmy, hit me with that Triple H. Girl, you let the music keep playing.
Wrestling Report. Damian Nelson, The Cause, and David Octavius Tiberius Hero, live with you on Wednesday, July 28th, 2010, coming to you from the Time Warner Cable Studios of 540 ESPN in downtown Milwaukee. Beautiful downtown Milwaukee. What a show. What a show so far. Thank you to the callers from all over the country who've joined us here on 540 ESPN tonight. And the conversation has been going wild, running wild at pwrshow.com in the chatmosphere. Let's talk a little bit about TNA Impact from last week, and we alluded to it earlier. Lots of talk about TNA tonight. We alluded to it earlier. That promo, it wasn't a promo. That heartfelt montage speech.
What is it with TNA talent when they get in the ring on a microphone?
They just sort of lose it?
Yeah, they get all emotional. Thank God for Mr. Anderson.
Dixie Carter gets to the ring at her first in-ring promo, and I thought you saw the light.
I did. I'm just comparing things.
And
I haven't said the four-letter word once tonight.
You said Cody several times.
The other one.
I didn't think it was still a four-letter word still.
No, it's not. I'm just saying. I don't bring it up anymore.
Did you see the spoilers for 2 weeks from now?
I did.
Dixie Carter gets in the ring.
That's a rib on somebody.
I think
literally.
Dixie Carter gets in the ring, and she's talking about.
You all right there, Jim?
Yeah, no, I'm trying to regain my composure here. She's talking about ECW, how she made the decision to come back. Show goes off the air, and it's another week where I'm like, okay. Here's what I can't get out of my head: the image of Dreamer, Raven, Richards, Foley, and Rhino standing in the ring, and me saying, all right. I mean, okay. Is none of those people, to me, scream ECW. Now, to me, ECW, I was a stronger follower of ECW in the Just Incredible Lance Storm days, the later days of ECW. I appreciate the contributions of a Tommy Dreamer. Never been a fan of his in-ring work. I think the way he was presented, when he was wrestling with 12 broken ribs, broken vertebrae, blown kneecap, no foot. I mean, they just oversold him.
How did that work out for him?
You see now. Just never been a fan. Raven, I'm sorry. I don't want to quote him anymore. It's just he's a shell of what he once was, and it's not his fault. He's just aged. He's gotten older. As the caller pointed out earlier, that was 10 years ago.
That wrestler's name is slipping me. The guy with the
Rhino?
No.
Sandman, who's going to be? He's going to be a part of the show.
I mean, these guys gave their heart. I'm going to say that for that period of time, but it's now we're going to. I agree with you, Damon. And you see these guys and you go,
you know what? Maybe we should do this. Here's what we're going to do. Next week, when we're on Wednesday night, August 4th, no discussion unless it's caller-based on this ECW thing, unless it's a positive discussion.
4 days before the PPV, you don't want to talk about it. See, I was going to try to get Raven to come on the show with us.
I fear that the negativity that Frank is spewing about this show.
Yeah, Frank. You know what?
It's all my fault.
Yes.
I fear that it is not being interpreted properly. And here's the thing. We, all three of us, including Rashi, want TNA to succeed.
Absolutely.
Because it's better for the business overall.
Absolutely.
Me, Damian Nelson, I don't see the long-term viability of this, and maybe I shouldn't be because there is none. That's the challenge with the whole thing. So, David, Kaz, Dixie Carter, she did it. She wants to give ECW that last chance. She wants to give them that send-off. She is giving one show, one night, to Tommy Dreamer, and it's a pay-per-view for $34.95. Your thoughts?
Because it will make money for that period of time. Because if they would put just another TNA pay-per-view in that slot, it's going to be the same stuff unless it's a major TNA pay-per-view. Here you add something a little bit different. You're going to get an extra 10,000 buys maybe.
I appreciate them taking a chance.
It's to make money. which is all the reason that they do pay-per-views in the first place. But this is just a little blip where they can go back to their marketing people and go, hey, that worked. We made X dollars there.
David Hero.
$34.99. They're charging that much for it?
That's how much TNA pay-per-views are.
Hey, Dad, guess what I...
No. Guess what you just spent money on.
Yeah. You know what? I'm happy that these guys are getting an extra payday.
They deserve it.
I don't know if they deserve it. I'm just happy they're getting it. Okay? The part for me that's frustrating is guys like Sandman and Sabu and some of the other guys that are on the ECW legends or originals or whatnot. How many indie promoters they've blown off and have cost them money. And
Did we have a promoter to bury tonight?
I forgot the Joker's name, but I got the lowdown about him. But and then these guys are being rewarded again.
But also keep in mind, a lot of people when they think ECW, some don't think of the wrestlers right away. Some think of Paul Heyman.
Really?
So I'm saying some, not all.
I think most, if not all.
Yeah.
We got to close that topic out, and we got some callers waiting. I want to make sure we get to them. A couple of hot news items as well that we did not talk about after that HBK bombshell, the real story. Let's see who picks that up and talks about that. Scott Hall's out of the hospital, thankfully.
And he's doing well.
Doing very well.
Good for him.
From what we hear. TNA has announced that they're going to be doing a hardcore special Impact on August 12th.
Yeah.
And look for a big return on Raw Monday night. Her name is Melina.
Dude.
What?
Spoiler free, baby.
It wasn't a spoiler. It's out there.
Okay.
It's out there.
All right.
David Hasselhoff is going to be celebrating.
In Germany.
It's going to be roasted, and I think that they will be serving cheeseburgers at that roast. Hulk Hogan will be a part of that on Comedy Central.
How does that fit?
As long as Lisa Lampanelli's there,
You're watching.
I'm all good.
She loves you too, by the way.
Go to the phone.
You know what? When back in December when she was in town, it was Damien.
You're not.
No, I'm not. No,
okay.
It was Damien, myself, Al Snow, Road Dogg, and King Kong Bundy.
Third row.
Sitting at the Lisa Lampanelli show.
Hilarity ensued.
It was hilarity ensued.
All around us.
Yes.
Let's go to James in Houston, Texas. You're live on the Pro Wrestling Report.
Is everybody doing tremendously dashing tonight?
Tremendously for me, dashing for Dave, yes.
Okay, cool. I know I don't have that much time, so I want to say a couple things. The only thing that would be worse than this TNA ECW thing is if the booking people placed Orlando Jordan as a TNA World Heavyweight Champion. Another thing is that with the Cena heel turn that y'all were talking about earlier, Kaz was alluding to that Cena is the money marketing machine. Randy Orton is the top guy right now. I mean, I think that they could afford to make Cena heel because at Orton, he's the top guy. He can be that guy to fill the merchandising gap. Do that.
It could be.
And then also with SummerSlam, what David said might be true. If the 7-on-7 tag match is headlined, then I think the Cena heel turn is going to happen. But if Randy Orton and Sheamus, if that's the main event, then the Miz will probably cash in his Money in the Bank and then end up winning the title at the end of SummerSlam. That's my prediction.
James,
guys, take care. Have a good night.
Thanks for that call down in Houston, Texas. Let's go to the West Coast, California. Jake, you're live.
Hello.
Hello, Jake.
Yeah, all right. I just want to apologize beforehand. I don't want to talk about the TNA ECW pay-per-view.
Oh, that's fine.
I'll just make it real quick. I think it's really stupid. I think they're highlighting guys they shouldn't highlight as usual.
Will you order?
No, and I love ECW.
Oh, wow, that's 2 tonight, by the way.
Wow.
2 ECW fans who are not at all interested in this pay-per-view. David, I think that's a tell.
And the only thing that I think would save it, and I know it's not going to happen, I just imagine this promo. Shane Douglas versus Tim Anderson.
That'd be some good talking.
Yeah.
Some very good talking. Jake, thank you for
Naturalized, probably not, but I mean,
yeah.
promo that was...
Hopefully Shane gets a spray tan before he shows up. Oh, wait, aren't those outlawed on TNA now?
Jake, thanks for that call out in California on the West Coast. What's your mouth about the tanning? Yes, I stole that from you. Final caller of the evening, Long Island, New York. Let's go to James, who wants to talk about The Miz.
Hello?
Hello, James. You're live.
How you doing, guys?
Tremendous.
Cool. I have actually a question and a statement. I'll start with the statement first. The Miz, I like him as a heel and everything like that. I just don't think that he should have won the Money in the Bank, only because they need to build up faces. As you can see, John Cena's the only face on Raw, and they have a ton of heels. A question for you guys. Who do you think, besides The Miz, who should have won the Money in the Bank, but as a face, just to build up his character against, all the other heels?
Well, David Hero would say Evan Bourne, and I would agree with him.
Yeah. Okay.
Evan Bourne would be the only other face. I mean, Randy Orton's face right now.
Yeah. I would say maybe John Morrison, only because he's had a lot of time there to build up. I mean, most people would say, who'd you just say?
John Morrison?
Randy Orton?
Yeah, Evan Bourne. Most people would say that, but it's been like weeks, and he just came up. I would definitely say John Morrison.
All right, James, out in Long Island, thank you very much for that call.
All right.
Very good callers tonight, a lot of new callers, and we appreciate that, and we appreciate you finding us on our special night and time, Wednesday night. We'll be doing it again next week. Next Wednesday, Rashi will be back with us, and we'll be live again Wednesday, August 4th. August 4th on
you got that right,
540 ESPN. I want to throw out some congratulations as well to Austin Creed, who we learned signed a WWE developmental contract. A lot of people rooting for him as well. Always a great talent.
He's a talented young man.
Very talented in TNA.
But what does that tell you?
By his release.
That he goes from being a star on TNA to developmental in WWE. You know what they do? But they want to wash off the TNA off him.
Wow. But they're going to take the consequence right out of him.
They did that with everybody.
Yeah,
who they brought up.
Gail Kim.
Did Christian go to developmental?
Well, no, but they kept him off TV for forever.
Yeah.
Sent him to ECW. There's those three letters again.
I hope we're wrong. I hope we are dead wrong.
We're going to be along. We're going to be along with the fans, the listeners, right now.
I think here's what you'll walk away with tonight: 2 ECW fans, one from Philadelphia, one from California, who love ECW, know ECW, don't want ECW. They feel that coffin's closed. They feel the nail is in it. They have no desire in TNA's ECW effort on August 8th.
Seriously.
Kaz, Paul Heyman, yes or no?
No, I don't think so.
David Hero, Paul Heyman, yes or no?
Not yet.
David Hero, Paul Heyman, yes or no?
No, not yet.
I say no all the way.
No, he'll be there, but
I don't think so.
Not yet.
Now, there's a lot more going on.
You know what? There's a lot of things we didn't talk about tonight.
A lot. And it will prove...
It'll prove itself.
It's going to be an interesting next few months in Orlando, Florida. Kaz, do we have the privilege of having you here next week?
Absolutely.
Wow. 2 weeks in a row. Wow. Wow. David Hero, you're on SmackDown.
I thought it was
Cody
fabulous.
Rhodes teaming with Drew McIntyre.
No, I thought Jack Swagger did great on SmackDown.
Rematch this Friday, Kane versus Rey Mysterio on SmackDown.
Yeah. Thank God Kane's on SmackDown. He's keeping everything fair and balanced.
There you go. We find out that The Undertaker is coming out of his vegetative state.
Uh-huh.
Just in time for SummerSlam?
No.
Want to remind everybody out there that the
Have
Pro
they
Wrestling
announced
Report...
Not yet.
Well, the number one contender is Jack Swagger, I believe.
Jack Swagger.
Want to make sure all of you remember to follow us on Twitter. We're each on there individually by our names, except for Frank. It's F. Cosentino, not the Cos. David Hero, Damian Nelson.
Rashi Brown.
At Rashi Brown. And PWR Show. All the latest breaking news and updates there as well. No PWR Primetime this week. The studio actually got flooded in the torrential downpours of last week. We're not able to do PWR primetime this week, but we'll have it again
I told
next
you
week.
to turn the faucet off, dude.
Thank you for tuning in to the
Well,
award-winning
You really clogged the
Pro Wrestling
did.
Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com.
WUK Jackson. Catch Sunday Night Baseball every